and welcome to the next episode in our Space Engineers Let's Play series. I'm Will from Steadfast Gaming, and today we'll be working on a Mothership. Some prefer stations, but a nice massive ship to call home is my personal preference. Now, if you're thinking of undertaking a project like this, I would recommend doing it in creative mode, or at least with a friend or two. Gathering the sheer amount of material, combined with actually building the thing, is mind-numbing on your own. This video is filed down from over 30 hours of footage. So, without any further ado, and picking up from where we left off last time, we begin making alterations to our rescue ship, the end goal being to better arm it against meteor strikes, and make it relatively safe from theft, as at the beginning of this video, I was still playing in multiplayer. I quickly realized, however, that if I was to spend such a huge amount of time focusing on building, that it was an impossibility, and changed the mode to private. Here, I am adding a second assembler, a vital step if you wish to create large numbers of components. I connect the two with a conveyor and storage system and split their inventories evenly. Now ready for mass assembly, I add armor and theft protection. The reactor, vulnerable to meteor strike and player attack alike, is moved inside of the ship. And now, in preparation, it's time to mine. The ore you'll need most of is iron. Expect to spend hours gathering this, but feel free to take it in shifts between mining and building, or alternate duties with a friend for the best results. The gyroscope is moved inside as well to ensure no tampering or accidents. It's now time to build. Get yourself far from prying eyes, and if you wish to increase your stealth further, change the ship color from asteroid gray to space black. As long as nameplates are not on, you'll be a small, imperceptible shadow in the distance. Just as I did in the first episode, I invert the gravity generator on the rescue ship and use the bottom as a build deck. I then attach the mothership's landing gear and layer on a heavy armor block, followed by an interior wall to act as my decking. It's now time to build the skeleton of my ship. Continue building, keeping in mind that you'll need to access the block from some angle later on in order to weld it. The general shape of my first deck now complete, it's time to add an external layer of heavy armor. Heavy armor is also added to the bottom, leaving none of the weaker interior walls exposed. And now it's time to weld it all together. You will quickly run out of components, so it's now time for another mining run. While I was away mining, it appears that a meteor shower inflicted terrible damage to the exposed framework. This wide disk acts as a large target for space debris. The protective ring of heavy armor complete, I move on to finishing out the deck. Along the way, I find that I've fallen victim to another meteor shower and promptly turn them off for the time being. I build the walls of my hangar up a bit with heavy armor blocks and begin placing my refineries and assemblers, getting a feel for the layout. I then move my mining vessel inside of the hangar and park it, giving me better insight into the space I'm working with. With that done, I extend the walls up even higher and begin work on the ceiling. It's entirely too boxy this way. I begin demolition and start again, this time arcing outwards with each level up. I begin my hangar door by placing a rotor on the ground and building on top of it with heavy armor blocks. I extend an arm out and make the face of the door as large and spiked as possible to foil the dreaded rammer. I then go into the control panel of my mothership and set the rotor's lower and upper limits to the correct values, which prevents it from over-rotating. I now have a functional hangar door. It will scrape the wall a little bit, but that's fine. It's better to have a tight fit than a loose one. On top of the hangar, I add a storage bay, doming my way up as I go. I then add a ceiling and some doors and decide to construct the bridge directly above this room. The outer framework done, I fly out to get a better look at it. It's far too tall, but for now I decide to focus on moving my refinery, assemblers, and anything else of value from the rescue ship and onto the mothership. I rearrange things a bit to ensure that all of the assemblers and refineries have hatches that touch one another. This links them all together in one big inventory, making movement of ores and materials for construction quick and easy. I dig a trench underneath the storage container and fill it with conveyors, connecting it to the refineries and assemblers for easy storage. I begin beefing up my door, thickening the arm and widening the face. With that complete, I start adding to the frame, lessening the size of the gaps as much as possible. I add a heavy armor brace behind the door, just in case a rammer manages to break off the rotor. It's now time to finish out the hangar's equipment. I finish the storage crate and move on to the conveyor system. A second trench is dug to the landing pad where a collector is added. I quickly realize the need to go down another level in order to receive the items from the collector and deepen the trench, filling it with a conveyor system of its own. It is then covered with a layer of interior plating, hiding it from view. We will now need to add another layer of armor to the bottom of the ship in order to protect the vulnerable conveyor system. For the sake of aesthetics, the first conveyor system is moved down and hidden as well. I sever the landing gear and begin to rip anything of value off of the rescue ship, moving it to its new home on the mothership. I flatten the top of the mothership, giving it more of a disc shape. Three additional ship consoles are then added to the bridge, providing better versatility. There truly is no front or back to the ship now. Thrusters are scavenged from the rescue ship and added to each direction of the mothership. We can now do a test flight, though it is exceptionally sluggish. More thrusters are added, and it's time for yet another mining trip. Upon my return, I begin finishing the door, eager to test out its protective capabilities. After completing the door, I build the brace and prepare for testing. Ram Test 1 and 2 did very little damage, and if the heavy armor were complete on the outside, I doubt that it would have inflicted any damage at all. For the third and final Ram Test, I moved the rescue ship's cockpit to the rear and get up to 80 meters per second. The results are gratifying. There is no need for the brace at all. The hangar door will do just fine on its own. I begin armoring the outside of the ship, starting with the doorway. With that done, I move on to hollowing out the bottom of the ship for an engine room. The walls to the room are finished, and another mining mission is launched. This clip demonstrates how dangerous large chunks of ore can be near gravity generators. Tired of waiting for the connectors to expel the ore, I manually move and drop it into the collector. It clips the mining vessel on the way down, popping open the cargo container and releasing the huge chunk of ore inside. The generator then proceeds to push both pieces of ore through the deck of my hangar, causing massive damage. A heavy armored deck is added to the bottom of my engine room. I spiral out from the middle in order to best maintain my desired shape. The deck finished, I move on to the rest of the armor shell, working my way up from the bottom. The ceiling to my hangar is added next, followed by the walls. I am careful to rotate the interior walls to specific angles, providing me with the layout that I seek. A conveyor system is added to the top of the storage container, leading to the bridge above. The remaining cockpits are added, and a passage to the engine room is constructed, as well as a number of gyroscopes. I move on to finishing out the walls and ceiling of the bridge, completing our first room of the mothership. Ready for its first coat of paint, I carefully select a custom color with the P key and fly around holding Shift and the middle mouse button down to paint in a 5x5 grid. The main color done, I begin the detail work, painting each interior plate a lovely shade of green. With only the top layer left, I get at it, finishing it out after only a couple more mining trips. I then begin construction of the thrusters and lose all hope. Close to the finish line, I can't bear the thought of going out and mining literal tons more ore and give in to creative mode. The sheer speed at which you can build this way is astounding and refreshing after 30 nearly straight hours of grueling gameplay. With the thrusters now complete, it was time for the weapons array. No flying saucer is complete without a death beam, especially one that calls Gotham home. A conveyor system is added beneath the rocket launchers in the engine room, connecting them to the rest of the storage on board. The outer armor is left blocky to provide sharp edges, which tear at enemy ships viciously in desperate situations. Doors and detail work are done, and it's time for a weapons test. That's a very effective way to get rid of your old rescue ship. As a final test, it's time to step into the shoes of the enemy. I create a little fighter ship and barrage one location with a ridiculous number of missiles. Upon inspecting the damage, I'd say that she held up exceptionally well, considering the number of well-aimed missiles it took to get in. With the number of gyroscopes she has, you should have little trouble spinning your way out of danger. I hope that y'all enjoyed yourself this episode. I'll be doing videos much more often from now on, and I already have 2 or 3 Rust Let's Plays waiting in the wings. I know y'all want more Space Engineers, and I'll be filming a fighter episode next. Until then, like, subscribe, comment, and most of all, share this video with your friends if you liked it. The more coverage we get here at Steadfast Gaming, the more content we can bring you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you around the solar system.